Have you ever had one of those moments, you smell a familiar perfume in a totally empty room? Or you have a dream about someone you've lost, and it feels more like a visit. This is something so deeply human, something that gets right to the heart of love and loss. So today, that's what we're going to explore, this incredible connection that so many people feel continues long after a life has ended. This quote from Mitch Albom, it hits you, right? It perfectly captures what we're talking about here. The idea that these bonds we build, all the love we share, it doesn't just poof, disappear. Nope, it changes. And for a lot of people, that change feels like a conversation that's still going, a connection that bridges two worlds. And hey, if you've ever felt this, you need to know you are so far from being alone. In fact, you're actually in the majority. A recent Pew Research study from 2023 found that more than half of all Americans say they've had some kind of contact from a relative who has passed away. So this isn't some fringe idea, it's a huge part of the human experience. So why? Why does this happen? What is it inside of us that looks for these signs, that's open to them? Well, it really all boils down to the very nature of love itself. Think about it. When we lose someone, our heart doesn't just stop loving them. It keeps reaching for them. That search for a sign, that hope for one more little connection, that's not about denying what's happened. It's actually about affirming a love that is so strong, it just refuses to believe that absence is the final answer. Okay, so if this communication is happening, what does it actually look and feel like? Researchers who study this, they call it after-death communication, or ADC for short. And what they've found is that these experiences tend to fall into a few really common and really powerful categories. All right, the number one most common way people report contact is through their dreams. Almost half of all Americans say they've had what's called a visitation dream. But let me be clear, these are not your average, weird, chaotic dreams. They are something else entirely. And what's so amazing is how consistent the stories are from person to person. People describe these dreams as being incredibly real, hyper-realistic, almost more like a memory of a real event. The person they've lost shows up looking healthy, happy, peaceful, and usually they bring a simple but powerful message, something like, "I'm okay, don't worry." And the feeling it leaves behind? A profound sense of peace that sticks with them for years. Here's a perfect example of just how powerful this can be. For this father, who is deep in his grief, just one dream, one visit, gave him a feeling of peace that he hadn't been able to find for months. It didn't take away his pain, of course not, but it completely transformed how he was experiencing it. Now, moving beyond dreams, a lot of people find messages in the world right outside their window. It's like the natural world itself becomes this canvas for these really personal, really meaningful signs of connection. What makes these moments so powerful isn't just seeing a butterfly or a cardinal. It's the timing. It's that uncanny sense of, wow, I was just thinking about my mom, and there's that cardinal she loved sitting right on my windowsill. It's that perfect, impossible timing that turns an everyday event into what feels like a profound message. And then there's this whole other category of signs, one that feels a little more modern, electrical stuff. The thinking here is that spirits are a form of energy, and so they can influence the energy and electronics around us. This can be one of the most startling ways to get a sign, right? A light flickering right after you ask a question out loud, or the radio suddenly turning on and playing your song. It's like this little jolt from the universe, a reminder that the connection is still very much active. Okay, so how do we wrap our heads around all of this? The conversation is definitely changing, and you've got science and psychology now offering new ways to think about what's actually going on here. So, of course, there are a few ways to look at this. On one hand, a skeptic might say it's just coincidence, or maybe confirmation bias. You want to see a sign, so you do. Or maybe even grief-induced hallucinations. But on the other hand, researchers who study grief point to the very real, documented healing effects these experiences have. And they note that these stories are told all over the world, across every culture. So they argue this isn't a sign that something's wrong. It's a totally natural part of how we mourn. This has really led to a huge shift in psychology, and it's captured in something called the continuing bonds theory. You see, the old way of thinking about grief was all about letting go, moving on, detaching. But this newer and frankly much healthier model says that the relationship doesn't end, it just transforms. And science is now backing this up, saying that honoring that ongoing connection is actually good for you. It helps you heal.
Because at the end of the day, whether you believe these signs are from beyond or from within our own minds, what really matters is the incredible positive impact they have on the people who experience them.
And the data on this is it's overwhelming. You look at research from places like Trinity College and the University of Virginia, and you see that these experiences are almost always a source of comfort. Almost half of the people said it directly helped them accept their loss. And look at that last bar. Almost nobody finds these experiences distressing. The effect is profoundly therapeutic. And this is such a crucial point. No dream, no sign is going to magically erase the pain of losing someone. It doesn't work like that. But what it can do is transform the grief. It can give you courage, it can ease that feeling of despair, and it offers this powerful sense of meaning that helps you figure out how to keep going. The impact can literally change a person's life. People who have these experiences often say their fear of death is dramatically reduced. They feel more connected to something bigger than themselves. And most importantly, they get the one thing their heart is longing for, the ultimate reassurance that love endures. So it kind of leaves us with this one last thought to ponder. What if the most important, most profound messages we get from the people we love aren't these huge, loud spectacles? What if they're actually quiet whispers, woven into the fabric of our everyday lives, just waiting for a heart that's open enough and quiet enough to notice?